Hi, everyone. Welcome to our daily Interfaith Chapel. I have my good friends, Holly and Wendy, and they're going to talk to us about the high holidays. So tune in.
I'm Wendy, and I have been an adjunct professor at Augsburg, and I have been a Christensen Fellow as well. And I want to start by wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and an Eid Mubarak. Why are you laughing, Holly?
Because I think that's very funny. I hear what you're saying and I know your direction, so go.
So this is akin to our Ramadan month, or akin to a Christmas season. I have soup for 30 that on my stove right now, even though in COVID I will not be having guests, but I have prepared chicken soup that should last us through 24 days of feasting, fasting as well, and hosting people. And this is a whole season where at the end we will be exhilarated and exhausted all at the same time. In a general year, we usually have about 100 people come through our home or our backyard, but it all starts this Friday night. It goes with the lunar calendar, like the Muslim calendar, except that ours corrects so that this holiday, ours corrects 1 month so that our seasons stay with our holidays, or our holidays stay with our seasons. And so Rosh Hashanah is the head of the new year. In the Jewish calendar, it's the year 5781, and it all begins Friday night at sundown because Jewish holidays always start at sundown. And Holly, if you want to take it from there.
Sure. So for me, the big ideas are prayer, reflection, repentance. And the one thing we do that is eternal in it throughout time immemorial is we hear the sound of the shofar, which is the ram's horn. And this is a really big one, and Wendy has one too. And if Wendy can,
yeah.
You want to? Yeah, go ahead.
So on Rosh Hashanah, which is a one-day festival in Israel and for some Jewish communities, and a two-day festival outside of Israel and for some communities, we hear the sound of the shofar 100 blasts. 100 blasts, and sometimes it's meant to sound like a wake-up call. So Holly, if you can say the first sound.
Tekiah.
And the next one is to, like the themes of repentance and, what did you say? It's charity and reflection. Prayer. This one is meant to be kind of a wailing sound. You want to say the And the last one is actually meant to be kind of a crying, kind of a brokenness, to pay attention to how we are broken and that we are heading towards fixing that. So go ahead.
Teruah.
It needs to be more than 9 and less than 14, fewer than 14.
So does it happen during the sundown?
So it generally happens in the synagogue. We have funny things that happen when the holiday is on Shabbat, on the Sabbath, as it is this year, is most communities do not sound the shofar if it's on the Sabbath for all sorts of reasons, but some communities do because they only have 1 day of the holiday. And so communities interpret it differently, but there will be on Saturday in some synagogues. It's generally done in the synagogue, but anybody can sound the shofar. In some communities, it's only men who sound it. In some communities, it's men or women or people over the age of 13. But it is done, and the commandment is to hear it. There's not a command to blow it or to sound the shofar. The commandment is to hear it. So it's okay if somebody else is sounding it for you. My neighbors are probably already looking at me because they're wondering, why is somebody sounding it today? Yeah.
So for, I think one big idea is the thought of the possibility of ethical self-transformation, that everybody makes mistakes. Everybody walks through this world aspiring and maybe falling short of being the best version of themselves. And this is a real time that is set aside. And that's why I laughed. I've actually never heard quite people greeting with Merry Christmas, but the idea of digging to the value, and that value being, the big idea in this holiday is ethical self-transformation. It is owning your mistakes, owning your shortcomings, and apologizing to the people who you love in your world and care about, and maybe have treated in ways that have been something less than what they've deserved. And then also having that internal and sort of meditative conversation with God. And for me, the shofar is this, it's supposed to wake up the still small voice inside of you, that push to be the best version of yourself. And so I guess I invite in this weird time, and I've actually seen people are going to put a mask on the shofar so that it does not send out the COVID germs. And we will also be in our homes. We will be on Zoom. We've never had a holiday like this in our lives. None of us have. These are all new things for us. And we're going to be missing the togetherness, but we're also going to be respecting the moment that we're in, and honoring that moment with elevating our health and the health of the community by following every rule about, you know, social distancing and staying home. So we will maybe gather in a very public place to hear the shofar. I think we will at a big park very far apart from each other. But other than that, we will be mostly staying at home, and we will, you know, we will make the most of this, and I think consider this a spiritual challenge, and hopefully rise to and above it. And Fardosa, your curiosity and your questions and the convening of the conversation is a gift. And so I'm with the JCRC. Fardosa and I together have run the Interfaith Youth Group for so many years. And I just want to express to you my gratitude, because your convening of the conversation and curiosity is a gift.
And I appreciate like your willingness to share, and or invited me to come in last year. I was with you guys during Young Power. So getting that opportunity just to be in your presence and to share your special days. So I really loved it last year, and I feel really bad this year that it's not able to gather and to be with families and friends. So that's an unfortunate time right now we're in.
I'd love to add that for Holly, who was saying about finding our best selves and making amends with people, when we teach children, we talk about that we all miss the mark. We all do it. We do it every day. We miss the mark. We say something to our family, to the people we live with, our colleagues, the students, that is just not right. And sometimes it can just roll off, and sometimes it doesn't. And the older I get, the more I think not about just missing the mark, but really that even just missing the mark can cause long-term sustainable ripples of damage. And so with little kids, we say, oh, just say you're sorry. But as we get older, we don't just say you're sorry, because that's really about me. As using the words, will you forgive me, is much harder. And our tradition teaches that we actually need to ask 3 times, because the recipient, the person, may not be ready to forgive us the first time, depending on how hard the damage was. And we have to go, if we're serious, we'll go 3 times. If the person has not forgiven us after 3 times, it is then incumbent upon them to deal with that, because after trying 3 times, that's something in their heart. This is not something that everybody's really aware of or practices, because a lot of our Jewish education ends when we're young. And really the whole psychological ability to change those bruises into really nothing, like the scars that you ignore as opposed to the scars that bother you for your life, is really about closing the forgiveness pact, I guess. And so I've already been working with one of my colleagues. I said the wrong thing, actually I said the right thing in a meeting, but she didn't like how I said it. So we have done we returned to each other, and we worked it out enough that we know when we encounter each other again, this is all about the cycle of the year comes back. We know that we're going to hit that sore spot again, and how we look at each other, give each other a wink, like we actually created a secret handshake, basically. To know that it's not going to be avoidable. We have strong personalities, but how we are going to navigate around each other as it comes back, that's what the cycle of this year is going to be. I wish we could say more and more about this, but the reason I'll finish with, the reason I said about the Christmas season is it's very common in the United States during the Christmas season to try to honor Jewish life by saying, hey, how was your Hanukkah? Hanukkah is a holiday that was about not assimilating, and Hanukkah isn't our big Christmas season. This is it. So anytime someone wishes me a happy Hanukkah, I say, oh, could you please say that in September and October, when I've tried apologizing to friends and I've cooked for 30 people or 100 people. And so this really is one of our 2 big seasons. So I hope when it's your big season that I will say the right things to you and wish you blessings. And for Jewish friends, whether you know them or not. And there are a number of Jewish students at Augsburg. I do hope you'll wish them a Happy New Year, Shana Tova in Hebrew. And thanks for having us, Fardosa.
Let me show you two more things before we go.
I have to run.
White, and we have apples and honey. So have a sweet season. Bye, Wendy, and thank you, Fardosa.
No, thank you. Thanks for doing this, both of you guys, and I'm very grateful for that.
Are we done?
I think we're done. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I guess I would just share the apples and honey. That's the tradition of the season. And so if somebody out there does not celebrate Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but wants to taste the specialness of the season, just take some apples and take a little bit of honey. And so I invite everybody in the Augsburg community or whoever sees this, have an apple and some honey and taste that. And hopefully that will bring you sweetness and a feeling that who you are is on the road to who you wish you would be.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Fardosa.
Thanks.
Bye, Wendy.
Bye.